Okay, this is about the false assertions that are given in the movie What in the World Are They Spraying? And the so-called moratorium issued by the UN against geoengineering. And people are foolishly interpreting the so-called moratorium and all the talk about geoengineering. Uh, First of all, they are the main problem is that they think that the geoengineering that's mentioned in the moratorium and the geoengineering that's been released by the UN and talked about by the CFR is the chemtrails. And this was done by the movie What in the World Are They Spraying, which was released as an intentional deception by the CFR, which is this is done for the public to deceive the public, and the way this is done is this is to deceive the public into thinking that what people have been calling chemtrails are the same programs that the geoengineers are talking about. And this is false, and yet just about everybody has been duped by this, and apparently I'm the only one who can see the obvious, unless everybody's just ignoring it and doesn't care. But I hear people literally thinking that this so-called moratorium is going to stop chemtrails, so-called chemtrails. And I even heard people saying that they thought that what they think this means is that they already have stopped. So you can see how effective their psychological operations are. So what is the main flaw in What in the World Are They Spraying? And I have not watched the movie, but I don't need to watch the movie because the trailer tipped me off to the fact that it's a psychological operation in coordination with the releases about geoengineering from the UN and the CFR, which are all the front groups set up by the people who are doing the actual spraying. So, what is the erroneous, the false conclusion that the movie erroneously leads you to believe? Well, it opens in the first minutes of the trailer to the movie, where he says, he says, I want to talk about geoengineering, also known as chemtrails. That's a lie. He directly lied right there. And the entire thesis of What in the World Are They Spraying is as follows. Okay, timeline. People have been witnessing so-called chemtrails spraying out of airplanes. People have been picking up samples. These samples show aluminum. Now you notice, this should be a clue right there, that the only thing that What in the World Are They Spraying mentions is aluminum. And that is intentional because the purpose of this PSYOP is to link the spraying that people have been witnessing and the samples they've been picking up, is to intentionally link that with these government releases about geoengineering, which is what the moratorium is. And the PSYOP was, What in the World Are They Spraying was released to capture the so-called chemtrail protest movement and to control that movement by leading it into thinking that they had solved the mystery by figuring out that they had discovered these so-called geoengineering programs, but all what in the world are they spraying is a leak by the government, the CFR, United Nations, all the people who are behind the geoengineers. It's a leak of a false program called geoengineering to get people to think that the chemtrails are these geoengineering programs, but they're not. And the lie that's told in What in the World Are They Spraying is they think they've figured out the huge mystery that all this spraying we've been seeing, oh, this is what it is. It's just geoengineering. See? And then they show all these so-called geoengineers talking about this thing called geoengineering, and they claim that they figured out that they've already been doing geoengineering, and what they're seeing and testing is geoengineering that they claim they haven't already started doing, but that they already are. Okay? So the main problem is the moratorium doesn't refer to any geoengineering that's been done. No geoengineering has been done. Every single one of the geoengineering proposals is just that, a proposal. None of it has been done at all. None of the moratorium refers to any programs already in place. Every single geoengineering program is merely a proposal for the future, and not one of these geoengineering programs has been done. And so, I saw an interview with one of the geoengineers where these protesters, so-called chemtrail protesters, are saying, you guys are already doing geoengineering. That's what we're seeing in the sky. And that's why we're testing and we're picking up aluminum. And then the geoengineer says, no, we're not. And he says, all that stuff you're seeing in the sky is not, those are just contrails from condensation, because we're not doing any geoengineering. We haven't done any geoengineering. And he's right, because none of the programs that they're talking about have been implemented at all. And so, what in the world are they spraying? Falsely asserts is that these geoengineers are lying, and that they've already implemented these programs without saying so. But they deny that. They say they haven't implemented these programs, and that everything people are seeing has nothing to do with what they're talking about. And I believe they're telling the truth, because they haven't implemented any of the programs that they've proposed at all. And so if you buy the moratorium and the whole geoengineering thing that people have bought into, then all the geoengineers must be liars. And if you buy the moratorium, then you're believing people who, by your own interpretation, definitely are lying and have not retracted those lies. So it's so insane that you could be falling for this. I cannot believe that I'm the only one seeing the obvious. That if the moratorium is real, and all the spraying that's been going on for 10 years is the geoengineering projects that the moratorium would cover, then the moratorium and all the geoengineers have blatantly lied and never been called to account for that lie. But yet you're going to accept that they would tell you the truth on this, and you're just going to let them get away with. If that was true, that would be the biggest scandal in human history just by itself. But the fact is the simple fact is, none of the geoengineering that's covered in the geoengineering meetings is anything more than proposals for the future. None of it has been done at all. And the stuff that people call chemtrails, the spraying, is totally denied by all government agencies as existing. Totally 100% denied. And it's denied by all the geoengineers. So if you're going to buy this moratorium, and if you're going to buy the thesis, the flawed thesis of what in the world are they spraying, you've got some major questions to answer that you haven't answered, that you've just completely ignored. And apparently you're going to ignore me, and you're not going to face this, because I'm the only one that I've heard even mention this. So if I'm wrong, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. That the geoengineers, the basic point, the geoengineers deny that they've done any geoengineering. And they deny that any spraying has been done. So according to them, none of the chemtrails are geoengineering. Okay? So if they're lying, then you can't trust anything that they've said. But the fact is, they're not lying, because they really haven't done any of those proposals that they've talked about. The chemtrails are completely, totally denied by all government sources. And so you just have some major flaws, and major flaws in logic here.